Welcome to Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where you get unconventional insights into retirement and lifestyle design that actually work. You don't have to settle for the same tired Wall Street advice. Break away from the herd and learn how to achieve the retirement lifestyle of your dreams. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
Okay, back on Personal Pension Radio. Fantastic to be here with you. I really appreciate you being here. Always just humbled by the amount of support that I've received from the Personal Pension Radio audience and the shares, the likes, the reviews. Just really appreciate that. Broadcasting today, again, from the Personal Pension Radio studios here in my workshop in Horsetown, USA, Norco, California, sunny Southern California, where this time of year the wind starts to pick up. We have something in this area called the Santa Ana winds, and they start picking up, and basically everything that our neighbors 50 miles away might have in their backyard that is light enough to be picked up by the wind is then deposited in our backyard. So we're enjoying that part of the year. This idea that fall is here, recording this now at the towards the mid to end of September. The idea that fall is here still is completely lost on me because it'll be over 100 degrees this week. Southern California. So, brought to you by personalpensionradio.com. If you haven't been over to that website, check it out, personalpensionradio.com, where you can find transcripts of back episodes and show notes and links and various other such things. Now, the title of the episode is one today that I'm talking about because I'm just not sure what the title will be. I'm thinking the title might be The Glamorous Life of a CFP. The Glamorous Life of a CFP. And I say that because unlike financial entertainers like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, I have to maintain my licensing. I have to maintain my certifications as a financial planner. So that means I have to do continuing education. Now, unlike these financial entertainers who basically get to say whatever they want without any oversight, without any filter, without, any validation, whether it's right or wrong for the listening audience, I actually have to maintain a very high standard in order to be a certified financial planning professional. So this is continuing education month for me. Now, I made a mistake. I have a number of different licenses and certifications, and I thought, and I was just thinking, and I've been doing this long enough, pushing 20 years, I've been doing this long enough, you'd think I would remember, that certain licenses, like my certified financial planning designation, well, those continuing education requirements come up at the end of September, not the end of December. So the glamorous life of a CFP is going through multiple continuing education classes in rapid session to make sure that I pass my continuing education requirements. So yes, the glamorous life, that's what we're all about here. Now, what is Personal Pension Radio all about, though? Personal Pension Radio is all about optimizing retirement income. The retirement income conversation was missing in my training as a financial advisor. Most financial advisors have been educated in the same way by the same machine that taught me the messaging that worked best, in my opinion, for banks and Wall Street, right? So most financial advisors are educated by those who have control of the education and marketing systems for financial advisors. And of course, that would be banks and Wall Street generally, financial advisory firms and banks. And the information, if you have listened to this show, I'll tell you the information is incorrect. So personal pension, incorrect, let me clarify, is incomplete. And what I mean by that is that this show being all about optimizing retirement income. And that does not happen with a product. It doesn't happen with a mutual fund or a 401k. It doesn't happen with a diversified portfolio of stocks and dividend paying this and that. It doesn't happen with life insurance. It doesn't happen with real estate. Optimizing and maximizing retirement income doesn't happen with annuities by themselves. None of these things individually can help you maximize and optimize your retirement income. You have to have an integrated approach. You actually have to have an income strategy. And my show, I am the income engineer. My show is meant to give you hope for retirement. It's meant to give you the light back on at the end of the retirement tunnel. But I'm here to tell you, and this is just, I'm going to keep beating this drum, I guess, until, they invite me to speak, on a larger stage, I suppose. I'm going to just keep beating this drum to hope you will share this message that the financial advisory community, those like me, right? There's some 780,000 financial advisors, depending on the numbers that you look at. They've all been educated essentially by the same Wall Street financial advisory system, right? And it never taught me to pay attention to retirement income planning. Really specifically the retirement income rules. It was almost like, don't look behind the curtain, pay no attention behind the curtain, because the answer to every question about retirement was save more money, invest more money, right? The Great Recession was a big wake-up call. The education that I received was not right. It's half right and just not a complete picture. So this show is all about giving you a conversation around what I believe is the most important aspect of retirement planning, which is retirement income planning. Like, what good does it do to have all of this work done to accumulate if you have no distribution strategy, or if you do not have a distribution strategy that will allow you to maintain a lifestyle? A distribution strategy that allows you to live your retirement years without fear of running out of money, right? So that is what Personal Pension Radio is all about for me. And that's why I own the trademark, the Income Engineer, because I am beating that drum that retirement income is the most important thing that should be on every retirement prep list. And you'll see today in my Watch Your Step segment that it's just not. It's just not. I did some digging today just out of curiosity as I prepared for this show. Now, disclosure, alert, disclosure. I am not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I am a certified financial planner professional. But please, as qualified as I am, that doesn't mean that you should act on things that you hear on this show as if they're gospel for your world or things that you should go out and implement for you personally. This show is meant to give you information, meant to hopefully inspire you to do what is most important, is meet with a qualified financial advisor. Now, I meet with clients and people all over the country. So today with technology, there really are no borders and no boundaries. We can have a meeting over the telephone and over Skype, and we can have a face-to-face web meeting with web cameras. So meet with a qualified financial advisor, but please do not act on things that you hear on this show, and especially please do not act on things that you hear from financial entertainers. Financial entertainers are people they are not licensed, they are not regulated financial advisors, they are entertainers. So please be advised, watch out. I've heard some good, solid, basic advice I hear all the time from financial entertainers. But mixed in with that, oh my gosh, I hear some of the worst financial advice blended into the conversation. And it just makes me cringe to think that there might be people out there who are actually acting on some of the things that they hear from financial entertainers like Dave Ramsey. It makes me cringe. So now, let's go on to the first segment here. Watch your step. Watch your step. Now, there are so many lists out there, retirement planning lists, retirement this rule, that rule, 5 steps, 10 steps. And today, just out of curiosity, I started looking up these retirement lists. And I thought, wow, maybe I need to have my own list. And then I realized, well, am I going to be able to spend enough money where my list will show up ahead of these big giant firms like Merrill Lynch and AARP and so forth? And I realize probably not. If I go to the extent of creating a list, well, that list is never 5 steps. It's never 7 or 10. There's many, many steps in planning for a successful retirement and a successful retirement income plan. But it still got me thinking. What do these lists look like? I've done it before, but I wanted to look at more specifics. So I actually looked at 4 or 5 of them. And all I can say is that each one of them, every time, is incomplete. In my opinion, they are missing the single most important conversation in any retirement list, and it's not there. One of the lists had a tiny little partial piece to it. So let me go through this and tell you what I saw. Now, this first one, I forget where it came from, but it was the one that jumped to the top for me. It was just very easy, and I think you can see this from 100 different locations. It says 5 simple tips. Let me see if I can speak correctly this morning. 5 simple tips for a secure retirement. All right, so my observation, all right, there was some good general information, but you know what it didn't have? No income plan. Doesn't mention anything to do about income, just savings. All right, again, not to be unexpected, but just no income plan. Then there was AARP. AARP had 10 steps to get ready for retirement. Well, guess what? No income plan. No income plan at all. But here's what they did say, just so I want to go through some of these things, just to make sure to give them credit where credit is due or comments where comments are due. Number 1 step, define your retirement. Well, okay, define your retirement. I ask that question often to folks, and it means 1,000 different things to 1,000 different people. Take stock of your assets. I say that differently. So this next step on ARP's list was take stock of your assets. Now, I say it very specifically. Take stock of your retirement income assets. Very, very important distinction there, because the home you live in, the house that you call home, is not an income asset for retirement unless you get a reverse mortgage on it someday. It's not going to ever pay you any income, right? So when we talk about when this, ARP article talks about take stock of your assets. Well, who cares if you have a vacation home, a primary residence? If you have no plans to draw income from those things, well, they're not part of your retirement plan. So I've often very specific with that. Take stock of your assets, your retirement income assets, those things that you can draw a retirement income from. Okay? Now, the third step on the list to get ready for retirement is to determine when to collect Social Security. Like, wow, okay, that's a buzzword for every financial advisor, I think, nowadays, is this whole idea around Social Security. When should you take it, and should you wait until you're 62 or 65 or 70? I'm here to tell you, just on that note, that if you have a retirement income plan, then that includes a Social Security conversation. That if you have a really good retirement income plan, then you have options perhaps to take your Social Security later, because you will have built-in income planning stages that allow you to have perhaps increases from things like your Social Security, right? Now, the fourth one on this list from ARP just made me stop in my tracks. Like, that this even has ended up on a retirement list. I think they just needed to get to 10, so they were trying to throw stuff in. Network through social media. This section actually said part of your retirement planning should be to network through social media. And even a note in there said that you should spend even as much as an hour a day on social media like Twitter and Facebook to connect and to build your network and to get conversations with friends and people. What in the world is that doing on a list for the most important financial thing that many people, if not most people, will ever deal with, which is their retirement? Spend an hour a day on Twitter? Oh my gosh, I was just surprised by that. Very interesting piece. Now, next, decide how much you want or need to work. Now, this is the one where I kind of stopped, and this made me frustrated. Didn't surprise me, but we're talking about retirement. But decide how much you want to or need to work. And then this quote in that section said, "You will have to either stretch limited money or give up some retirement dreams or stay in the workforce to help pay for those dreams." Oh, how depressing. That's why I say in the beginning that this show is all about maximizing retirement income, which is the source of retirement lifestyle, right? And if you do it right, the light can stay on at the end of the retirement tunnel. But I'll tell you what, that quote right there in the article from ARP just basically turned the light off for me. I mean, geez, how depressing. You will have to either stretch limited money or give up some retirement dreams or stay in the workforce to help pay for those dreams. Just for the record, that is what the financial community is telling people. Not just ARP saying that. That's what financial advisors are telling people. That's what financial companies are telling people. I mentioned this on a recent episode, that a couple being told, "Oh, geez, sorry that the amount of retirement assets you have won't take care of your lifestyle that you really want. I guess you should just save more money and maybe work until you're 70. How depressing is that, right? Retirement income conversation is unfortunately very predictable with most of these lists and most financial advisory companies. Now, that list was ARP. Now, I got to get to the last two here that I looked at. Motley Fool had 5 steps to your retirement portfolio. Now, they specifically talk about income products, but they have no income plan, right? There is one, though, right? There is, and I mentioned there is one in this list of lists that at the end of the Motley Fool article, the 5th option was buy annuities. Wait a minute. The Motley Fool is basically a Wall Street investment advisory cheerleader. I mean, that's what the Motley Fool is. And they give great information, and they're awesome when it comes to conversations about stocks and bonds and mutual funds and all things Wall Street. And yet, on their retirement list, buy annuities, right? And here's what they said. Here's the quote. And I love this quote, and I want you to really hold on to this. The quote says, "Deferred annuities can help you not run out of money as you burn through your nest egg in retirement." Did you hear that? Listen to that. This is the mantra from Wall Street financial advisory firms in general. But deferred annuities can help you not run out of money as you, and this is the part that got me, burn through your retirement, through your nest egg in retirement. Why is the plan that you are burning through the assets? Someone that I know actually said this. He asked this question. He says, "You're telling me, Kraig, that the whole Wall Street machine is based on me building up this big retirement pile so that I can then burn it down in retirement?" Yes, that's basically the way that it is currently set. Save, so that you can then burn through your nest egg in retirement. That is not a solid plan. That is not a solid plan. But it's funny to me that the Motley Fool, a very pro-Wall Street financial advisory type of a firm, specifically says deferred annuities can help you not run out of money as you burn through your nest egg in retirement. Yeah, I've been saying that for years and years and years. My mother, for example, has 2 guaranteed deferred annuities that have been turned into guaranteed income annuities, and she has complete income security with her Social Security and her 2 annuity paychecks that she gets every month. She is financially comfortable and insulated, right? She doesn't worry about the stock market. She doesn't worry about global ups and downs. She gets a guaranteed paycheck. So I'm a huge fan of annuities, definitely. They're not the solution to maximum retirement income, though. That is so important to remember. And let's finish with, I guess, my favorite list of the day. This is Merrill Lynch, 7 steps to prepare for your upcoming retirement. 7 steps. Okay, here we go. 7 steps. Diversified and investing for growth, right? Remember what I said, and I've said it many times, that if you ask a Wall Street firm what to do if you lose your dog or if you get a flat tire, they're going to tell you, save more money, invest more money, get a diversified portfolio. Well, wait a minute. I just lost my dog. Yes, you should have a diversified investment portfolio, right? That's the number one thing every time. Next, take full advantage of retirement accounts, especially catch-up contributions. Now, the first 2, of course, are very self-serving. Merrill Lynch wants you to maximize your investing portfolio. The second one, take full advantage of retirement accounts, especially catch-ups, because that means more money in retirement accounts and Merrill Lynch. Next, downsize your debt. Now, there you go. I agree with that one. You don't want to go into retirement with big debt. You don't want to go into retirement with a great big mortgage. I mean, 5 years to retirement and you're refinancing to a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage. You're just setting yourself up for a very difficult road. So downsizing debt and obligations like that is very smart. Now, this is the one that caught me, then stopped me, and I know all this, but the average person doesn't know this, right? That the fourth item here says calculate your likely retirement income. And in the article, they say the achievable spending rates for retirees, and they give a little chart. At age 60, an achievable spending rate is 3.5%. Soak that in for a second. Let's say you've got $1 million in your retirement account and you're 60. Merrill Lynch is saying that you should probably take only $35,000 a year from your $1 million account. No more. Achievable spending rates for retirees at age 65, 4%. You've heard me talk about it, the 4% rule. There it is. It still amazes me that firms are using 4% because I know the real details behind this. At age 65, if you try and take a starting retirement income of $40,000 a year out of $1 million asset at age 65 and you're healthy, there's still about a 12 to 15% chance that you and your spouse, one of you, will die broke if you try to maintain beginning at a 4% rate. It just doesn't work. So these numbers being quoted by one of the largest financial firms in the world are old, outdated, like 35 years plus old, outdated retirement income advice. And it's just flat out wrong. Let's just make sure that you know that. If you see anybody talking to you, is anybody talking to you about at age 65, you can take 4%. Heaven forbid if they say 4.5% or 5%, they are flat out wrong, and I'll show it to you. So you can go to Personal Pension Radio. I'm putting out a challenge right now, personalpensionradio.com. If anybody's talking to you about retirement income today and you want to be sure that you're getting the right information, if somebody's trying to sell you an annuity as a solution to retirement income, or sell you stocks and bonds or life insurance as the solution, a product that's going to fix retirement for you, go to personalpensionradio.com, contact me there through the website, or find me online. You can find me at kraigstrom.com. That just goes to my LinkedIn page. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Kraig with a K, Kraig Strom. But there's the challenge. Don't leave this to chance. Don't go watch the latest Dancing with the Stars. Your retirement plan needs to start today, needs to actually begin or needs to be double checked sooner than later. Finishing things up, the Merrill Lynch list, right? It's just exactly, all of these lists are exactly what I thought they would be, right? But none of them have an actual income plan. They're basically the same generic information with a few little twists thrown in here and there, but nobody's talking about income plan. Here's one that I want to comment on in the Merrill Lynch list. At the end of the Merrill Lynch 7 steps list, they talk about plan where you will live. Plan where you will live. Now, this is a big one for me. Okay, planning where you're going to live in retirement is a big deal because a retirement income plan is not specifically a product-driven type of thing. It's not a 401k thing or a life insurance thing or a real estate thing. It's a plan. It's a strategy. How we get net retirement income in our pocket. That's an overall plan. So where you live is a big deal. So California, for example, has among the highest, if not, I believe, the highest income tax in the United States. So a retirement income plan could be, as it is for me, moving out of the state of California to a state that doesn't have income taxes. So if the state income tax in California, let's say, is 8%, wouldn't that give me an immediate 8% raise, right? Wouldn't that give me a raise on my net income, my spendable income, if I'm not having 8% of it go to Sacramento? So that part, right, where you will live is a huge deal, and that does blend into a retirement income planning conversation. So if your financial advisor is not talking to you about things like this, about where you will live and the balance between your income assets and so forth, and if your financial advisor is talking about things like 4% and 5% income, know that you don't have someone who specializes in retirement income planning. You have a classically trained, in my opinion, incompletely trained financial advisor who doesn't understand retirement income. Okay, so now let me finish today with a client and listener question section, the segment that I'll finish with. I touched on it last week. There's been a lot of questions around the car dealership question. So I had touched on it last week on the show that someone actually had heard me mention that I was starting a car dealership, and that I thought, well, I might as well just share it with my podcast audience and let them know what I'm doing. So I touched on it a bit last week, and that I have a passion for cars. I enjoy cars. I started a car show, and I'm not right now big on investing in real estate or investing in stocks or individual investments in the market, just not feeling it right now. And I really want to pursue this piece of a passion that I have. So I partnered with a friend of mine, and we invested in the necessary infrastructure. It wasn't inexpensive. It definitely cost a few $1,000s. It was shared between myself and a friend. And we set up an actual licensed car dealership. So now we have the ability to go to the dealer-only car auctions. And here in Southern California, where I live, we happen to have one of the largest dealer-only auctions in the country, perhaps even in the world. It's a pretty remarkable thing. And just a few weeks ago, we purchased our first 3 dealer cars. So now I'm actually a used car salesman on the side. So I'm smiling, by the way, when I say that. Does it make me nervous? Yes. Am I young enough to take some risk? Yes. Is there room for error, and is there margin in the cars that we bought? Is there a profit margin in the cars that we purchased? Absolutely. And that's the part that I love about it. So I get to actually drive some really cool cars. I'm just smiling and having a blast. And there's room in there for some nice short-term profit. So that's where we're at now. Now, have I sold a car yet? No. That makes me nervous? Yes. Do I still smile when I get into my 2013 BMW M5? Absolutely. Do I still smile when I drive the Corvette? Right? Absolutely. I love it. Now, the process for finding the cars is fairly straightforward. There's an auction with thousands and thousands of cars, and we go and pick out, hopefully, amongst all the competition, 2 or 3 cars that we want to enjoy and we want to sell, that we would like to flip or turn over and sell at a retail price. Now, the big question that someone asked me was, how are you financing the cars? Are you just paying cash for the cars? And the answer is absolutely not. Absolutely not. Unlike some financial entertainers who suggest that you should pay cash for investments, the most efficient way to buy investments, if you can, is with lending, with properly applied debt. So, for me, I have built into my financial strategies, I have whole life insurance. I have a whole life insurance asset that is part of my savings and investments and part of my retirement income plan, actually. But my whole life insurance actually has a very useful benefit today, which is collateral lending, or some call it cash flow banking. So I hold reserve money that I have invested in the past, made a profit, and I don't want to risk it again. I hold my reserve money in my whole life insurance policy. Now, my whole life insurance company now allows me to borrow from them. Okay? It is a loan. I am not borrowing my own money. I am getting a real loan from the life insurance company. They're never lending me my own money. They use my money as collateral. So somebody asked me, well, wait a minute, what kind of repayment do you have to make, and what's your interest rate? And they just started grilling me with questions. So I wanted to answer these for everybody, that this is a real loan, but it's flexible. It requires no title to the purchases that I'm making. So I request a loan from my life insurance company. They send me a check. There's no credit check. There's no title documentation required on my car. None of that. I purchase the car, and the payment structure back to the life insurance company is very flexible. So in my case, if I can turn my car for a sale in a short period of time, I let the car pay the loan back. So there's profit in the car. I sell the car, I pay the loan back. So the life insurance policy loan gives me my own personal banking access, where I have access to loan collateral, to collateralized loan money. Let me get all my words right. Without any issues. I don't have to fill out any complicated paperwork. I don't have to ask any banker for permission. And the best part for me personally is while I have the loan out holding this investment, this car, for example, my cash value continues to earn dividends and interest as if nothing is different. There's no difference. My dividends and interest continue to accrue and grow, right? Now, I'll go into more details. I don't want to throw too much at you, but I'll go into more details in the future, how these deals are working out, because I'm getting a lot of questions about it. So I'll cover how they're working out, the money, the rate of return. I'll go through a deal and help you understand how I evaluated this for the wealth objectives I spoke of on the last episode: efficiency, enjoyment, legacy. The plan works, right? So for now, my partner and I have 3 cars. They all have a good profit margin of several $1,000s. And the best part is each one of the cars is a thrill to drive. And I bring them to my car show. So now I drive my dealer cars to my own car show. And I'll tell you what, I smile while I'm doing it. So when it comes to wealth objective number 2, plan for maximum enjoyment, I've checked that box for sure. Very efficient, so I get to have a really cool car that I did not pay retail, and just having a good time with it. So there you go. How's that for a quick zip through Personal Pension Radio? Now, I had to use the little zip reference in there. Sorry, this is going to be an extra thing. I drove a very fancy car a while back to my car show. Fancy car, but an absolute hot rod. I drove a Porsche GT3, which is among the fastest cars that you could ever get in the world. And it's not my car, it belongs to a friend, and he let me drive it to my car show. And when I saw another one of my friends at the car show, I got out of the car and he says, "Wow, how was that?" And I said, "That thing is very zippy." And he laughed at me and he says, "For the record, Kraig, you should never use the word zippy ever again at your car show." Especially when you're driving a GT3 Porsche. Don't use the word zippy. So let me rephrase my earlier statement. That's going to wrap it up for Personal Pension Radio today. Yes, we covered everything from steps to plan for retirement to buying and selling cars, right? Oh my gosh, we're getting so much information into Personal Pension Radio. Get over there to the website, personalpensionradio.com. Find me on LinkedIn. The challenge is still out there. This is real. If you have not sat down to have a retirement income conversation with anyone specific to your situation, I am telling you, your retirement lifestyle is in jeopardy, period. I'm telling you, you do not want to have the retirement conversation where you're going to get sideswiped by things like the 4% rule, Monte Carlo simulations. Hey, work until you're 70. None of that should be something you're looking forward to. So if you want to avoid it, put a stop on that right now. Go to personalpensionradio.com, download that free Optimizing Retirement Income Report, but better yet, contact me directly through Personal Pension Radio or go to LinkedIn and contact me there. I can help you. If I can help you with your retirement income plan, I can help you do things that you might not have thought possible, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio podcast. We took notes for you, so if you missed any part of the show, you can find a full transcript of each episode at personalpensionradio.com. Be sure to download your free retirement income crisis report at personalpensionradio.com. While you're at it, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Now
Thanks
for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.